Josh Waring. What's good, Josh? All right. So, of course, like I said, we're here once again to talk about Secret Vision episode 3. And before we even get into it, what were your thoughts of the episode, Josh? Overall.
For me, it was a great plot twist in terms of espionage and whatnot, and the revealing of some double, triple agents and some fake outs, some good old fashioned espionage.
With some you kind of predicted already. So, I thought that was good. And Chloe with the constant predictions and theories and conspiracies. How was your overall thoughts of the episode?
I thought it was short. I was like, weren't we just talking about the other day? How it was like, oh yeah, at least we get an hour, and this one was like 37 minutes or something. I didn't fall asleep this time, so maybe I shouldn't be complaining.
And Josh knows how I feel about those short episodes. So.
Yeah, I was like, why is it so short? I was like, we just gave them props for not being so short.
Especially with the short season, so it's like.
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes, right? So we have 3 more left.
Yeah.
But definitely, I thought it was 2.
Hold on, he just texted me y'all started, so I guess he'll be here in a second. Waiting on
Right.
him. I thought it was cool too. It was a great, it's definitely like Josh said, moving along the plot of the season. But with it already being halfway finished, I'm like they got a lot to accomplish. I feel like, but it is getting better and better, And it's funny because another spy show competing with your guy, Josh Jack Ryan, was also back. So.
Oh yeah, that's great too.
Is it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so right at the beginning, we get some of the stuff Josh is talking about, and with the scrolls, there's more of it's even more of a kind of double, triple agent disguise thing. So we see that they enlisted 3 of the scrolls. One of them, who we met in the first episode, the black one, to kind of go and impersonate some of the naval officers to complete Gravik's plan. And the one guy who's a little bit wary about it, the black guy, you see they kind of pull him in, kind of the mentality that like we're doing it for the cause and his family and for what we want to do. So as you see this Josh unfold, how you feel about that and Gravik's plan with that?
I'm not gonna lie. I will have to say this was a bit of a plot device for me because he is a new recruit. So obviously his faith isn't there, and you have all those other scrolls who are clearly down with the cause. Why wouldn't they be in charge of a more important mission? But then we see why that is later. So I don't want to spoil that part. But yeah, that was my thinking at first. Like, how is he on the front lines already? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Chloe, your thoughts on that? On the recruiting him to do that?
It's just like it just seems like it's a little cultish. Like it's given. You know what I thought about? I was like, if I was a scroll, I wouldn't be living in that compound. They don't even have air conditioning. They don't have nothing going on. Like you would think that if they're like a secret invasion, they'd be like living better. Like I don't know. Like y'all came here to live like poor. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like they could have way more resources. Like I know they have the resources for like the lab, but y'all living like in a homestead instead of like a nice sky rise. I don't know. I don't know. That's the one thing I thought. I was like, they live in a little shabby.
Not a nice sky rise. That's what he said.
I mean, but think about it. It's in Chernobyl. Like nobody can go there.
But I think that's the point. So they can't be just, somebody can't walk up on them and stuff like that.
Right. If they are secret invasion, right? If they're pretending to be humans, they can go all the way and pretend. And this is why, and I'm sure we'll get to this, but this is why I think that we're always going to know that they scrolls because a human would be living in the skyrise. Like, if I could switch my face to look like anybody I want at any time, like I'm going to be wealthy. Like I'm going to be living in a nice lavish place. And it's like, it's a secret invasion, right? But if it was that secret, they would be living more, I feel like, amongst even the grassroots people would be living higher, I feel like.
Okay. Well, speaking of this, the lab she mentioned, further to, we see Gravik with those, the council, and he's showing what he's been working on. And he's building this machine to create what we thought was already coming as Super Scrolls. And he actually says it by name and shows them his process. And he shows them first before anybody. So, Josh, how you felt about seeing that there?
Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting. Again, even though full disclosure, I never read the comics. I do
Right.
like how they, added an element of the comic books, Kevin Feige style. Just a sprinkle in there because sometimes you can't have it full blown in there because people won't be able to follow along. So just sometimes a little bit of a hint of a comic book storyline, and then make it towards modern day. And this MCU and the 616, I thought that part was cool with the Super Scroll program.
You too, Chloe? How you felt about that?
I'm like, okay, it's about to get real. It's about to be some super scrolls with superpowers, looking like other people. And then I'm just like, why isn't there anything to detect the scroll? Like, how are they?
That's what somebody else said. They've been here 30 years and they don't scroll detectors yet.
First of all, Fury's too smart. I would think Fury's too smart for that since he knows about the scrolls. So like, he should have been developing something in somebody lab about how to detect the scroll. Like, it shouldn't have got to this point. So maybe they'll touch on that about how he dropped the ball because he was in love or whatever. Yeah. Who knows? But it just that seems like a plot hole to me.
Speaking of that, you got the great segues, Chloe. So the next scene is the flashback to 1998. This restaurant in New York, and the question from last week was answered. He does know, in fact, that his wife was a Skrull, and when he first meets her in the restaurant, he's like, oh my god, oh, you're the same Skrull lady, and she's giving him intel from doing his spy work for him at the time, and then they kind of start to, I guess, court each other a bit. So, Chloe, how you felt about seeing the flashback, how he met his wife or got with her, I guess?
It makes me curious to know if the Skrulls, like, was she tricking him? Like, did she become a black woman to kind of influence?
I think so on purpose, though. Yeah, I really do. Because she just became anybody.
You could be anybody, but then also when they scroll, they do look black. So I'm just like, is there like a certain level? I don't know. They could be anybody, but even though they scroll, they have like black features. So for me, it's just like, I don't know. It seemed like she did all of that to court him because she was a part of the plan from the beginning. And he fell for it.
Because not only was it a black lady, it was a black lady like who was around his age. You know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because I was thinking too, even like in the future tense, when he saw his wife, she aged.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she purposefully aged? Like, because who's doing that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that happening with her, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird. I think she is.
Josh, let's start with the flashback. How you felt about that whole thing, man?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think she's spot on. I think and Vara or Scylla, whatever you want to call her, I think this was her plan the entire time because the close point you could have changed into anyone, but it's kind of like you manufactured an appearance that would allow you to be his wife. So she kind of created her backstory with that appearance. So it'll be such an easy segue, right, for you to be the cover wife. So that I thought that was very clever, very cloak and dagger.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. And it's probably, and they probably did their homework, and they probably saw some of like Fury's ex-girlfriends or something like that, and probably picked somebody who looks just like or close to one of them. Honestly, like if they really were smart. But then in the present tense, we see that Fury's been home now, and they had this whole conversation about his absence and how it made her feel. He's questioning her about Gravik, but she's returning about how he left and stuff like that. Playing on his emotional side. And then she gets his phone call that she can't take right now. So Chloe, this whole back and forth what they had in the present day. How you felt about that part?
I mean, typical feelings I felt like of a wife that hadn't seen her husband, and if she made some valid points, she like, yeah, you left me in the blip. Right. So I'm like, is she a woman scorned or is she like, is she upset at him? Well, obviously she's upset with him because he chose. She said that like I lost you in the blip, but you chose to go up to the space station. She's like, I accepted your life for what it was. Like, I'm Nick Fury's wife, so I knew what that came with. But you chose to leave me here and abandon me. What you think was gonna happen? And that for me is just like, what did he think was gonna happen? Like, I don't know. So for me, it's like not too far fetched. If she did go to the other side and was doing some shady stuff because he kind of abandoned her and then just came home, like, hey, honey, And I know you could tell that it seems like they actually like care for each other and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, she unpacked some stuff on him real quick. I thought it was her other boyfriend or something. I thought she had another man while he was honestly, like I thought you disappeared. You know?
It's been a few years. I can see it. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I thought. So,
you know, DDDs. Never mind. Josh, how you felt about the present day scene with them, and also that phone call that she got as well?
This is what I was thinking. I was like, first of all, how on earth is that an excuse to join a terrorist conglomerate? That makes no sense. Oh, you didn't talk to me for a couple of years. I'm gonna go join Al Qaeda. Come on, that's ridiculous to me personally. Like, come on.
Okay.
Especially in extraordinary times, because after all, you are an alien race who's facing universal genocide. So that's his own category. Then you have Thanos, and then you have the events of Endgame, and of course, again, you guys Priscilla Barr, she understands that they're different species, so you're gonna have to have a different coping mechanism because people have PTSD after people died and go through some stuff. So I understand, but at the same time, where's the empathy for Brother Fury? That's all I'm saying.
See, I think I thought the same thing you thought, Josh, but then I think the other element to it is I think Gravik is her son. So I think that's their son that they raised together. So I think.
Well, yeah, but not actual son that you gave birth to, but
adopted son,
right?
Still your son. So it's like I feel like when Nick Fury left, she probably is trying to keep tabs on her son. Maybe
I can see that. I definitely see that for sure. But at the same time, the events of Endgame happened when Gravik was already grown. So.
Facts.
I wonder maybe he got blipped too.
He could have. We don't know.
We don't know. Because what was he doing the whole time? Was he wreaking havoc when everybody got blipped?
Yeah. Well, we know she wasn't blipped because she said she mourned for him. I thought he was gone. So.
And by the way, just to add, excuse me, Mike, just to add the final point, like most of the Avengers, I would say, did not know about the Skrulls. So when they defended Earth and essentially everyone else in the universe, they also saved the Skrulls and other creatures. And Fury was a massive part of that. So again, some type of gratitude would be great at any time. Skrulls.
I think she might have been a little jealous too. He was on that space station with other Skrulls, so he might have been like, "I know you fucks with Skrulls, so who knows who he messing with up there? I don't know, just like that."
I don't know why he didn't just take her with him. I guess we'll find out.
For the cover, got to keep the cover.
And I also think Josh, made a point too about his own grief and PTSD that he was having. Made him want to, get away, but maybe the time slipped away. He was, oh my God, I've been up here 2 years or whatever already, and stuff like that.
Because he was blipped for 5 years, and it didn't feel like 5 years. It just felt like a blink of an eye, right? Yeah,
exactly. And that's the other part too. Damn, that's a good point. For her, she mourned him for 5 years, but for him, it felt like 2 hours. So it's a little different.
That.
Yeah, didn't they say like 10 seconds?
10 seconds. I think it was something smaller.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Now we get to another questioning back and forth. Because a lot of that happens in the show, obviously. But now we see Gravik go question Gaia because about the fact that the other guy who was killed last week didn't know where the safe house was. So he's saying, how did the cops find that out? And she's, giving her reasoning, saying, like, I guess because when he was tortured, he gave up any place or whatever like that. So I want to ask you, Josh, how you felt about this Gravik questioning of Gaia at the beginning?
Oh yeah, I thought it was very clever, and I was very surprised by Gaia because she was making it very obvious she was double crossing him. There was like literally no doubt from his mind. He just made it more concrete, and we'll get into that later. Yeah. But it is interesting to see where the storyline goes because I feel like that was the worst espionage you can do if only you're the only person who knows about a plan or a safe house, and then all of a sudden some human being police show up there. I mean, come on.
I thought the same thing. Chloe, how you felt about him questioning her in that scene right there?
I mean, she's a bad liar, and why she gonna say I'm a good liar? Like, why would you say that? Like it just seemed fake to me. Like I don't know. Like it just seems so bad. Like you're not even. It's like when somebody lying. It's like if somebody says something and you ask them, and then they just try to deflect immediately. Like it's certain things. that you know somebody lying about because of how they respond, right?
Right.
So like he did that. It was a leading question to see her response. It wasn't whether or not he knew. He knew. He just wanted. That was the way to get proof. Like me and Josh went to Spyscape in New York City, and they have this like lie detecting exhibit or whatever.
Okay.
And they teach you how to detect people lying.
Really?
It's very subtle things. So like you're sitting in this booth, you're looking straight ahead, and like they ask you to figure out who's lying, but they tell you to tell. So some people look to the left quickly. Some people fidget. Some people, I don't know. There were different things that they did.
Micro expressions.
Micro expressions, yeah. So like he's a freaking general. Like, how did she think? First of all, she should have known. She should have stood on her 10 toes. Like, I don't know. We need to figure this out. Not, I don't know. He must have been the one. Like, how would you know? If I'm asking you and I'm your boss, how are you going to give me an answer? And I don't know the answer.
Right.
Like, she was too slow for him to even, if she was going to be sneaky, she should have been really sneaky. She shouldn't have been halfway sneaky.
Only pass I'm going to give her is the smart thing Gravik did was he woke her up. He caught her fresh out of sleep. You know, when you first wake up, all your stuff ain't there quite yet.
You don't sleep when you lying, bro. Like, you can't sleep good if you a liar. Like, you just can't. Like, you should always be ready to be lying. Like, you don't commit to that.
When she woke up, she was like, well, what happened? What happened? Like, she was really sleep. So I feel like that, you know, he knew what he was doing. That was actually pretty smart, actually. So, they do go. He takes her with her, only, nobody else, and to meet up with her dad, with Talos. And on the way there, he gives her drops some more information that she then, you know, puts in her phone and stuff like that. He does meet with Talos in this art museum, so to speak, and you know, they go over. They have this back and forth about the painting, and then they have this conversation in the having coffee, and we finally see Talos get a little upset. And when he mentions his daughter, you know, he stabs him in the hand before they both go back and forth about their opposing views on the scrolls and the rebellion. So, Josh, how you felt about this whole scene with Talos and Gravik?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was very powerful, especially with the artwork, which depicted Winston Churchill and the other heads of state during World War I, where essentially during World War I, you had a lot of the oligarchs, a lot of the aristocrats ordering other soldiers to do, you know, to have war. And there's, you know, rumors or established facts now that even the soldiers on the battlefield had truces. They were like playing cards together, drinking together, but their boss was like, "Oh yeah, y'all got to fight so we can make money," basically. So that I like how Gravik was comparing Talos' general style to you're kind of like you're the bureaucrat now, just like the Scroll Council. So I thought that was cool. But at the same time, I thought that he was also playing like that confirms that you guys are still communicating, because it shouldn't, like, especially in public, you shouldn't lose your cool like that. And it's kind of, and by all the other scrolls changing into Gravik, I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
It confirmed that, yeah, we were waiting for you to lose your cool to confirm that you're still communicating with your daughter. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
because you don't lose your cool in public, especially as a scroll. Come on.
I was a little more too, but I'll get to my thoughts. Chloe, how you felt about this whole back and forth between those two?
I think it was just another way for Gravik to get his tell. Like, I think he's a person that seems very calculated and trained, and like I said, all roads lead back to victory, his dad, and so he's always 10 steps ahead of people when they think he's not. And so I think that was just his military tactics kicking in, like, or his espionage tactics kicking in, like, oh, let me see if I can get a rise on him. Because, like, what if oh boy would have just went there and he didn't respond?
Yeah.
Like, and now it's like you mad emotional and she mad emotional. Like, why y'all so emotional? And I feel like even in the last episode, he noticed how Gaia looked at him when he killed the dude, his friend. So he knew she wasn't about it. She was the only one sitting here looking like, yeah, you the one who ran away and joined the terrorist organization. I ain't got to deal with it. Like, you in a gang now. It's gang. So it's either with the gang or you're not. And I think also she thought that he wasn't going to, like, let me say that. She thought that their relationship was different, so she can do what she wants to do, and there won't be no consequences. Mm-hmm. So she was bold enough to be a spy, and it's like you're not even built for that. Like, you should have stayed in line.
Yeah, I thought it was a few things. I thought that first of all, he didn't have to accept this parlay or whatever he's talking about, right? So I agree with y'all. Gravik accepted it for a reason. It was like, I think he had multi-purposes to do it. One, to kind of pull out Gaia as knowing that she was the one who was the mole, basically, within the organization. But also for Gravik, for Talos. So not only did Talos lose his cool, but he also said that, I'll go ahead and tell all the heads of state, your plans and who you are.
Why would you do that? Like, why would he? That was the dumbest part of the episode.
I know, that's what I said too, right? I was like, why would you give up what you would do and stuff like that? Like, that's
showing your hand. That's the last thing you do in the espionage world.
Yeah, so I felt like Gravik kind of knows Talos well, and he knew that he possibly would do that. And like you said, Josh, he knew that mentioning her would push his button, especially if they were still in cahoots and stuff. Because Gravik never moved. He never flinched, even when he stabbed him in the hand. So I think that, he kind of, did that. But I do want to say on the flip side, I did like seeing Talos get back to who he was, I guess, a little bit. Showing a little bit of rage at the time. Like, okay, don't forget, who I am and stuff like that. So I kind of liked that as well. So I thought it was overall a good scene. And then, like you said, to end it off, we do see his thoughts were confirmed because we do see Gaia kind of change to the old guy and give the phone up for the information. And she did a good job, I guess, trying to get back to the car before Gravik knew. But, he knew already, so it didn't really matter at that point. So speaking of Talos, another good conversation between him and Fury now happens inside this bar. And Talos is still upset, still mad about last week. And I guess Talos is fed up with Fury. And Fury still needs his help. And he kind of makes him say, look, if you give me the help, you got to say, you need me. And this kind of also led to a further conversation in the car where Talos kind of gives up that, it was him and his spies over the years to help Fury move up to where he was. And he felt like he's not appreciative of what they did for him. So, Josh, let me ask you how you felt about the conversation between Talos and Fury in the car and in the bar.
Yeah, I can see where Talos is coming from, and I can see where Fury is coming from. I still think Fury is still a badass spy personally, and a mastermind. That's just who he is as a person. And to me, the scrolls just made it easier for him to obtain the information. I still think he would have obtained the information anyway from other sources, but this made it very easy. It's like having a calculator as opposed to doing your long division by hand. I'm gonna use the calculator. So that's how I viewed it. And you can see, and I have to give it to Eric Voss and New Rockstars, because he had a theory that this could still be his wife, because they were bickering as an old married couple. So his wife could be a super triple double agent, because as Cole alluded to in the previous episodes, it could be possible that there's two Nick Furies as well. Yeah. So the second Nick Fury without the glasses, who could actually be his wife, Talos' wife. So to me, this scene was like the old married couple scene bickering, and it could actually have more clues than we know at this time.
Okay, Chloe, your thoughts on Talos and Fury's back and forth in the bar and in the car?
Initially, I thought they was being kind of like, oh, well, you owe me, like friends or frenemies. I don't know what you would call them.
Right.
I think they needed to squash some beef. I never thought about what you were saying, Josh. I think that would be cool if it turned out that he was really somebody else that he wasn't. Right? Because I wonder, can scrolls turn into other scrolls?
What do you mean?
Like, if I look like a scroll,
I don't know.
maybe Talos.
That's a great question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's why I was thinking we'll get to that point, but I'm like, maybe they're just imitating each other at some point. That'd be crazy if you could do that. Like, I could turn into another human
all the time. Like I don't know, that's kind of crazy. A little bit.
Yeah. So I think that because that's essentially what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? Because nobody would know because they ain't got the scroll detection device. But
Yeah.
I also thought it was kind of like maybe it was Fury admitting his fault. But it's like, why would he have to admit his fault and Talos ain't admit his fault? So it's just like, I don't know. It was weird. I think that was maybe their bonding moment. I think that was just an insight to see how deep their relationship actually is. Like even though they were mad at each other last episode, they're still friends and like it goes deep. It's deeper than rap. So we'll see what happens in the future. But I like your theory, Josh. I'm gonna throw that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of like that old married couple too a little bit. So that's a good point, Josh, um, because he also said to Fury like you left. Same thing Fury's wife said. So everybody's mad at him for like leaving for a couple years and you didn't come back. So I thought it was like that. And then on top of that, but closer like I did this for you. You don't appreciate me. That's a lot of stuff a wife would say. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a good point, you got going on there, Chloe. So, but they do kind of get it together, and they go to this guy Bob's house to get the intel from the MI6 lady, who's now got the owl called Nicholas Fury, which I thought was cool. But they go to this Bob's house. Bob is the one who's has the code to stop this naval missile for starting this World War Three, basically. And inside Bob's house, we get some classic spy stuff. They get in there, and we get some, we get Talos kind of like using his powers, and then they get to the Bob's room, and then, again we kind of see Talos. He pushed that Gaia button, and then Talos actually kills the guy, and got to call her now, her to give up her good spot to get the passcode. So, Josh, how you feel about this whole scene?
Oh, I thought it was great. Always a callback to Captain Marvel, where Nick Fury first met Talos, and he referred to him as Nicholas. And no one calls him Nick, not Joseph, not Nick, not Nicholas. It's Fury. And it's interesting because we see another character in the Avengers refer to him as Nick as well. So we'll get into that later when we get to that phone call scene, but I thought it was interesting. I still don't know if that kid was a kid scroll or his actual son. So if it's the human being's actual son, that shows how the scrolls, similar to human beings, have some empathy for younger creatures, which makes us more similar. Or that's actually his son, whoever scroll that is son, who's actually playing the real human being's son. And it shows that it's even deeper. If you start infiltrating children, that makes a lot of sense. How you have 1 million scrolls on the planet if they're going to school with other humans. And then I thought, to your point, Mike, again pushing the Gaia button, like I feel like everyone can control Talos like a remote control. Every time you say Gaia and something negative, you freak out and you lose your emotions. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I see that. Claude, how you felt about that for it? Or what happened there?
I mean, I thought it was interesting that it was kind of a tell when he came in, they were shooting the guards, and guards were turning the scrolls that they got. I think that was his actual real son for some reason. And I think that it just shows that the scrolls have been able to like infiltrate people's families and the kids can't even tell the difference because of the memories. That's how I took that scene. But as Josh alluded to, there might be a situation where it could be an adult scroll acting like a kid. Because we've seen that in previous episodes when Gravik turned into the little girl with the ball. So they could be anybody.
That's fine.
So initially I thought that the scroll was the kid.
Okay.
Honestly, before the reveal. So they might it still might be the kid. It still might be the scroll. And maybe the kid saw, maybe that's how Gaia got her cover mom. Yeah. They kept the kid alive, so maybe he called back to the scroll headquarters like, he just called Gaia for the security code.
I think that I think that the memories are so deep, possibly that maybe the kid's not a scroll, but because it's the scroll father, guy, he got all Bob's memories, but probably and the emotions attached to those memories. So even though he's still scroll inside, like he still can love the person who wasn't a scroll because of the memories. Because when you see when what's her name Gaia looks into the memories, they're all Zachary, like all the guys' memories. That's how she figured out what the code was. So the guy was just that close to his son. Seems like to me because that obviously was a son at some point. So I don't think they got the kid locked up under the brain thing, stuff like that. So
Also, it's interesting because for me, if I was a scroll, right? Even though I'm wearing green, I'm not a scroll. If I was a scroll, to me, it would make so much more sense because you have alien tech, so you can make you can essentially become Elon Musk or like a Tony Stark character, and essentially everyone in that $1 billion, $1 trillion corporation could be a scroll. So you have colors for everyone. It'd be a lot easier. Number one. Number two, all the human beings who are in that stasis, they're next to deadly radiation for human beings. Yeah. So their skin should be peeling right now, but they're not. So clearly you have some medical tech that can prevent that from happening. You create that's $1 trillion business on Earth overnight. So I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? That just makes more sense. Why are you trying to kill everybody? This business rules on Earth. What are you doing?
And why y'all living in
You still talking about that?
That speaks to what I was saying.
It's worse than the projects, to be fair.
But they're able to grow their own fruit and vegetables there.
Nah, remember?
Yes, they were. The dude ate the little.
Yeah, they were.
There was a scene. I don't remember if it was this episode or the last episode when she said the crops aren't cropping.
She said that?
Yes.
Well, they're getting there. And what was it named? Priscilla Rivara. She's clearly a botanist, so she's figuring out plant DNA so that could be more accurate. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but also, I think their point is that they can walk around free in their regular scroll skin in that place without having any type of scrutiny there.
But they don't. Nobody's really walking around here as a scroll because when they took the pledge, they pledged to be a human.
Okay, that's true.
Remember?
Yeah, and in the refugee camp, they all have human skin. So it's like, what are y'all doing? Now, again, in terms of production, of course, it would cost more to have all those people looking like scrolls, whether it's CGI or makeup. So I get that. But at the same time, to Chloe's point, and this is what I said last week about Gravik. I've never seen you in your scroll skin, and you talking all this scroll stuff. It just doesn't make any sense.
And we still have it. I feel like that you guys got a good point. So it's like, well, especially about Gravik, I can now at this point now, when you were saying earlier, like weeks, Josh, about like Gravik's whole thing is BS. It's really just about Gravik and his whole power agenda. I see that more and more every week. Like his whole free my scrolls. That's like going deaf ear to me right now. Like it's more about you and your own agenda at this point.
And the point I was also going to say is the reason why they don't believe Gravik is because people are finding out he's lying, which is why a coup is coming. But like remember, and that was with the plant scene when the lady was like, "Well, the plants aren't growing, the crops aren't really growing," and then you see him on the other side talking about, "Yeah, we have healthy crops," and she like, "Nah, they not growing." Like he making up a whole bunch of lies, which what cult leaders typically do, but people are starting to figure out that he's lying, which is what Gaia was trying to do, was to create some type of discord between him and the other dude initially.
Yeah.
Plant seeds of doubt.
Yeah. So just to wrap up Fury and Talos, at the end of it, after they kill Bob, Fury is having a conversation because he finds out from Bob that Talos was recruited too to kind of join Gravik, and he didn't join him. And then Fury still questioning, like, why did you not join him? And Talos said, it's been 30 years. You don't know I'm not with Gravik because I'm with you. Kind of like he believes in Fury even more. So just to wrap up the Talos of it all and then Fury, how you thought about that ending conversation there, Josh?
Yeah, it was interesting. I still, to you, like how you said about Gravik, Big Mike, I still feel that way about Talos. because first he's like, "Oh, Fury, don't shoot the scrolls. I don't want you to kill him," and then at the same time, you also killing scrolls unprovoked or very minimal provocation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I sense a lot of double, triple, quadruple agents here, and I'm curious how it all plays out.
Okay. And you, Chloe, how you felt about the whole with Gravik? I mean, tell us, telling Fury that when Fury questioned him, why did you join Gravik? I guess tell us on the line.
I didn't think that was a good enough answer, honestly. Like, I needed more context behind that answer. Like, oh, I'm not with you because I'm with you. Don't you get it? No, I don't get it. You like me or something? Like, I don't understand. If I'm asking you, I don't understand, bro. Like, you're going to have to spell it out for me.
I kind of agree with you on that.
And I think they had, and it's funny, Josh. Now that you say that, it might be his wife, because I have been sensing a little romantic tension between them two, and I'm like, is this intentional or is this not intentional?
Right, because remember when they first greeted each other, they did the the head nod,
and I was like, okay, Fury, I see you. Maybe. I peeped that, so maybe that's not Fury. Maybe Fury's still up in the space station or something.
Well, apparently, Fury don't discriminate, species or anything. So who knows with Fury? I guess at this point.
And that was another thing. I was like, "This is interesting."
yeah, right. Like, what form does Varg take when y'all be, indulging in coitus? Let's say.
Right. That's funny as hell.
Intergalactic relations.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, I don't know that because. Listen, like I said at the beginning, whoever she changed it to, she knew exactly how to get him. He was like, "Oh, you look good." Like, yeah, he was on.
He's like, "Oh, you look like this all the time," or you look. She's like, "I can look like whoever you want." I mean, I guess that would be a fun relationship.
Yeah, just like Mystique, right?
Yeah, I guess it would be. That's fair. So speaking of Gaia, we got to get to that part. After she does, I guess, kind of blow her cover, as you said before. Hold on, let me get to this guy for the end of the show.
Yo, E, I'm gonna start to think you a scroll, bro. You ain't showing up. Hold on now. Hold on.
Right.
Yeah, one job, bro. What the hell?
I'll explain to y'all later.
All right. Okay. Well, we're kind of towards the end there, E. So you kind of missed it a little bit. But I'll get to more of your thoughts in a minute. But we're at the part where the biggest I guess shocking part of the show, and Gaia, where she kind of does get caught because she has to give herself up to get this code because they had no other way to get the code, and she knocks out some guards and stuff like that and finds the code, the Zachary code, and then she's like, she knows I gotta leave at this point, no way for me to get around this, so she try to leave, try to dip, and there's no guard at the guard station, and when she gets on the motorcycle, Gravik pulls up and he shoots her, and she goes back to the scroll farm. So, E, since you fresh in, how you felt about that whole part with Gaia and getting shot by Gravik there?
In my head, I was thinking to myself, I know she's not dead. I know she's not going to die like she died in Game of Thrones. So that's how it got me. And I was like, damn, she got caught that fast? Normally scrolls are slicker than that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Josh? How you felt about the whole part?
Yo, E, that's facts because she blew her cover way too easily. This is like Spycraft 101. Like, what are you doing? You could have did a little bit more covert than that. And then the whole conflicting dialogue Talos and Gaia had in the first episode, where there's so much tension, but like clearly y'all on the same accord. So what's the issue? Like, y'all should have a better interaction than that. Like, and she was kind of alluding to that she was, actually joining the Gravik cult. So that was interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was like, wow, that was very reckless. Like, really blew your cover, and you had to get through guarded scrolls in order to access that room. So I was like, damn. And then we saw the essentially the Tucker Carlson character scroll in there in the stasis, and the British Prime Minister in stasis. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm curious to see how they're going to use that in the future, because I think that's a tell for something. And to E's point, of course, she's not dead. She has extremis. Like she totally has that. And I think that was her most clever move, by turning back to her scroll form to give the illusion of her death. So I thought that part was clever. And that's why, to me, she didn't bleed out, because of the extremis.
Chloe, how do you feel about guy getting caught and getting shot there?
Okay, as y'all were talking, I came with another theory. So the scene before when all the scrolls turned into Gravik, remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that was like a precursor to that. That was never Gaia. Because you remember, if you remember, and I could be wrong, but if they made a pledge to be in their human form, he doesn't remember what she looked like as a scroll.
Correct.
Potentially.
Okay.
Potentially. So this whole time, Gaia could have been swapping places. You know who I think Gaia might be? She might be the new black dude. Like she might be in disguise as someone else, and someone is in disguise as her, and that's the person who got killed.
Okay.
Yo, it can get deep like that. I mean, they really can mess with us with that.
That's facts.
Because why would they show a scene where everybody turned into Gravik? That means anybody could turn into her. It could be 20 of her walking around. Just like it was 20 of him at the restaurant.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about the whole scene too. That conversation, you missed that part 8. But
So I think that was Gaia's informant. I think that was her informant that pretended to be her this whole time, even talking to her dad. Well, he maybe, you know what happened? I think the point where she revealed herself to her dad, right? Because did he see her in her form?
and her what form? The
Green
human form?
form.
Not in the show yet.
No.
No, right? So she could, I don't know. I think she did the flip flop. I think she seen her dad that day and then went back and had a game plan. Like, you're going to get close to Gravik. You're going to pretend to be me. You're going to give intel, and I'm going to see if he really want to kill me. Because she wants to be the leader.
Okay. So, okay, well, I'll take that. I think it was Gaia. But I think there's a lot of plot stuff missing from me, like, in this show on that. Or a lot of just more... First of all, how the hell you Gravik and you let this machine... Forget the room, but that machine be unguarded. So where Gaia had enough time to go give herself the Super Scroll formula or whatever to become a Super Scroll. So I would think that Gravik will have that like more guarded. Like I want certain scrolls to be able to do this. And if he didn't really trust her, I'm surprised it wasn't more guarded. That's number one. And
Maybe. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe she it was her, and she just has Super Scroll powers. Because remember when he got stabbed, he had the power.
Yeah.
That's
So
my
maybe-
point. That's what I'm saying. I think she does, but I think in order for her to get it, she had to go through the same machine he went through. So I'm
She
surprised.
probably did it, and that's probably why she gonna just respawn next episode. She gonna get up.
Yeah, but
Like, I'm a
Gravik being
superhero too.
such a smart general, I would think he wouldn't allow other scrolls who might be,
Yeah, that
not
was a
down
big
for the
slip
cause.
up. That was
Yeah,
a big
it's
slip up.
That's a big slip.
But that's his right hand, though.
They don't
Nah,
trust her.
not yet. He don't trust her yet.
I thought
Yeah,
he
he
trusted
still
her
don't
since they
trust
was
her.
kids. I thought he trusted her since they
Nah,
was kids, and then he lost
because
her.
Taylor's still her dad.
Right. He
Taylor's
knows
against
that. Yeah, he knows that
Oh.
Taylor's is her dad. Yep.
Okay, I read that all wrong.
And to your point, Chloe, because he has a bit of a cult in the refugee camp, I don't think anyone would even try that because they know how Gravik get down. They don't want the smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he just be killing. So yeah.
he don't care.
I would have loved if we had more time to see her rebel from Taylor to the beginning and join Gravik, and we made her join in the first place.
Right.
And then kind of more of their dialogue of like, I mean, we kind of see it a little bit, like you said, Chloe, when she was kind of like upset when Bro got shot last week, but just more of like her like not into Gravik's actions. Like they show more of the dialogue between them on that, because she never like says like, I don't agree with the way you're doing things, Gravik. She kind of just gives these like looks and shit like that, or whatever. You know what I mean? So on that notion, but I don't think that she's dead. But to your point earlier, Josh, it's crazy she had to give her cover already, and because of damn Talos, snapping and leave. But she should have been able to do it a little bit smoother without having to just like the way she did it. So it's like, all right, I don't know, but I think she'll be back regardless. So on that, and then at the end we get Fury's wife. And she gets the call, and we hear Rhodey's voice on the other line. Definitely Rhodey. And she says, where's Gravik? He says, no, you're meeting with me. She goes to the bank, safe deposit box, and gets the gun. And then, it's kind of how it ends. So, Chloe, how you felt about the wife and the phone call and going to get the gun from the safety deposit box and all that stuff?
I don't know how I felt about that. I was a little confused. Like, this how it's gonna end? Like, I don't like that cliffhanger like that. Like, who was on the phone with you? Are you talking to Gravik? I guess he's the question he wanted to ask, but like, I was like, dang, 37 minutes is over already.
Yeah, that was bad. That was the shortest episode too. E, how you feel about her and the phone calls, all that stuff with the gun at the end?
Yeah, I wasn't satisfied either. I felt like it was getting cut too short. Like I felt cheated out the move. Because I did want to know who was on the other line. I wanted to know why she grabbed the gun because, like, her and Fury's conversation was pretty good. Didn't I say he knew that was he knew exactly who she was?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt cheated on that. I wanted to know more about their relationship. I wanted to know more about why she feels some type of way. Like, they act like he wasn't Snap. Like, the Snap didn't hurt people. Even Robert Downey Jr. was looking crazy off the Snap. Like, the Snap did a lot to a lot of people in that universe.
Cap was in therapy, wasn't he? Or something like that.
He was in therapy groups helping them niggas get along.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel you with that. I forgot about that too. Yeah, to your point, Josh, about the PTSD, Cat was in whole therapy groups and shit like that. So, yeah. But Josh, how you felt about her ending scene there? With the phone
Yeah, she was clearly activated as a triple agent. Curious to see how it goes. And then, of course, the question on everyone's mind: how long has Rhodey been a Skrull? And for me, I think it was post Endgame. For me personally, I think in between, what was going on with Endgame and other things, because, Don Cheadle, Rhodey, is such a major character in Armor Wars. You know what I mean? So I think, like, I feel like Chloe and Big Mike, I think y'all are onto something in terms of, there could be multiple Furies, right? And there also could be multiple Rhodey's, right? Maybe Rhodey is complicit in being a Skrull, having someone scroll his ID to smoke out the threat. Like that could also be, that could be an element as well. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I feel like, as we said at the beginning, Nick Fury, he thinks 11 steps ahead. He has to have a way to identify a Skrull. Like even someone like Vision, he would easily be able to identify a Skrull with his technology, with his Ultron technology. And and things like that. So I feel like there is a way to identify a Skrull, and I think there might be a bigger mastermind plan, including the likes of Fury, Rhodey, and maybe even Maria Hill. You never know. So I think there's a bigger plan here to smoke out a small faction of rebellion of the Skrulls, and I think the others might be more peaceful. And if that is the case, that would be kind of unfortunate because then it would make it like the rebellion in the Falcon and Winter Soldier plot, just a small little rebellion. Because you guys said there's only 6 episodes, and this was a very short episode, and we're halfway through. So how much can you really unfold in the next 3 episodes? So it's interesting to see where we're gonna go with all this.
So you think it's a Skrull rebellion, like another set of Skrulls that's rebellion against Gravik?
Absolutely, I think
definitely. There's definitely a rebellion forming against Gravik at this point, and I think Gaia is leader of that. That's what I think. She's leader of that rebellion.
Okay.
Okay,
that makes more sense now that you said that.
And I think we're leading to a big Super Skrull battle between Gaia and Gravik at the end.
So,
right.
Think of that.
Yeah. Because when Emilia Clarke was first, touted for this role, it said that she was going to be the queen of the Skrulls. So clearly she has to have some leadership role in some capacity.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, her dad had leadership had big leadership. So I figured she would take that over. At some point.
Yeah. But with Vera, I think she's been like you said, kind of like it shouldn't be that way, but I think whenever Fury was going to the space station, I think she got talked into it because remember she's the one who brought Gravik in the first place,
right?
In the beginning. So I think she still had a soft spot, or to close point, it's their kid who they raised or whatever like that. So I think she of course got a soft spot for Gravik. And I think Gravik talked to her into saying, you should join me. Fury's going in the goddamn way. When he coming back? So join my cause. And she been like just doing it the whole time. And now, like you said, Josh, she's been activated. Like, okay, you got to go on the front lines now because shit kind of little crazy.
And then me personally, I'm a little offended for Nick Fury because again, there's a lot of not a lot of gratitude by the Skrulls. Like, and I said this in previous episodes. Like, you literally biting the hand that feeds you. Again, we're human beings. We don't have deep space capability yet. You know what I mean? We not like the rest of the galaxy. We can't really find you a home. And the other part is, where is Captain Marvel? She deserves some of the smoke too.
That part.
You can go find a planet for him like that. What's the problem? It took you 30 years. Come on.
That part. Why do the
problems with Carol? You know that. They don't want no smoke.
I mean, yeah, that part too. But I feel like the white chick getting off. She ain't getting no kind of smoke or nothing like that. So
yeah, she is. She's definitely getting off. But you see why she's getting off. If she came down there, it wouldn't be 1 million of them. It might be like 20,000 left.
I mean, it's okay. To your point, E, they done seen what Carol can do,
right?
Especially against Marvel.
Right.
So.
That's why Talos is telling them like, yo, humans are the strongest when motherfuckers threaten them. I'm telling you now, this is not going to go good. That's what. Did he not tell them that?
Well, if you look back to World Wars, 1 or 2, like, you do see different countries banding together against another force. So Talos is right. Like, when you decide to give them a common enemy, what Talos is saying, humans then band together and stuff like that. So I think this one.
And what's it called? Fury's whole thesis for the Avengers. That's what led to the Avengers. That statement right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, E, sorry you missed it, big bro, but I do want to rate the episode. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Josh, what would you give it, man?
I give it a solid 8. Of course, there were some interesting plot holes in it, but I think that's because they're going to reveal things later. So if it made a little bit more sense, I would have gave it a 9. But I still think it's a solid 8. 8 out of 10 is pretty damn good for me. So I give it a solid 8.
Yeah. Oh, and to your point, I do think that Rhodey was kidnapped or whatever happened to him. But I do think it was post Endgame. I do agree with that as well. That's something ain't right. Chloe, how would you rate the episode 1 to 10? What you thought? I mean, you ain't fall asleep this time, so.
I'm gonna give it like a 7.
Okay. What's funny, when I was watching the episode in the beginning, there was a lot of talking. I was like, Chloe probably asleep over there.
We ate dinner and we watched it. So.
Okay.
And I asked Josh, I was like, how long is it? And we looked, that's how it was 37 minutes. I was like, it's only 37 minutes. Because usually I fall asleep at like the 40-minute mark.
Okay.
So I got through it. But I was also perturbed, like, it's 37 minutes.
Like, messing up my nap. I could really sleep
now. 20 minutes.
E, how was you rated, bro? 1 to 10?
I'm definitely giving it an 8.
Okay, all right.
Definitely giving it an 8.
I think it was one of the weakest episodes, though.
It was, but I just like to see, like when he pulled the knife through Gravik's hand. I like to see the powers. The connection for me makes it worth it.
Yeah, I do like how they're making a lot of Iron Man 3 stuff relevant.
Right.
Because I feel like that was one of the weaker movies in Phase 1 or 2, and they kind of bring a lot of stuff back up for that, and that's because they changed directors. But that's another story on that one. Yeah, I'll go with an 8. No, I'll probably go close more like I'll go 7.5 because it wasn't as good as the other two, and some of the plot holes kind of disturbed me a little bit, but it still did move the plot along at the same time. So, as we said before, we are halfway through, so hopefully the next half of the season should start getting more serious. But we're done for the day, E. So you can stay on. We can talk about more stuff, but do appreciate you, Josh and Chloe, being here on time, and we'll do it either next Saturday or Sunday next week. Thank you all guys for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you then.
Peace.
And it's a bro.